Dear Kim, Rocky here. What I'm not gonna do is front. I spent my late teens to mid-20s a big fan. I kept up. I own and went to your book signing for Kardashian Confidential. I rewatched Kourtney and Khloe Take Miami like 3 times. Kris Jenner drinking a vodka soda holding up a peace sign was even my background on my phone for what some people would argue was too long. But over the past few years, the veil has been lifted. I realized that I was blinded by the alluring, momentary perks of capitalism for the wealthy and your sick-ass walk-in closet. It took me a little longer to see what my peers may have seen, but I'm human. Fortunately and unfortunately, humans arrive to the party when they arrive to the party, and I've been known to be late before. I even defended you in the past when people have questioned your intelligence. I've praised you for being the peacemaker in your family, and I said your butt was real. But that stops today. If I may quote you from your most recent interview with Variety, get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days. You have to surround yourself with people that want to work. Have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do because you only have one life. Get your fucking ass up and work. I get it. Maybe you're trying to do an MLK version of Work Bitch by Britney Spears, but it ain't hittin', Kim. Get your fucking ass up and work. You said that this quote was directed at businesswomen, but which businesswomen exactly? The businesswoman who wants to launch her own Etsy store but can't because she has a sick child and medical bills that just keep piling up and getting later and later. Lazy. What about the businesswoman who needs an abortion? But she can't get one because, let's just say she can't find a good surrogate. Or maybe it was directed at the businesswoman whose boss is sexually harassing her on a daily basis. But she can't afford to leave her job and she's being pressured into blowing him on her lunch break. That promotion is coming just as soon as he does. You're doing amazing, sweetie. It seems that nobody wants to work these days. Who, Kim? Amazon workers that are pissing in Gatorade bottles for $15 an hour? Or women whose only option for commuting to work is unsafe public transportation? I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the time, women aren't even safe with the comfort, luxury, and security of a 5-star Parisian hotel. Can you imagine having a vagina alone on the 1 train at 3 a.m. after getting your fucking ass up and working for 10 hours? You have to surround yourself with people that want to work. The average amount owed for student loan debt in America is $37,172. Minimum wage yearly income at 40 hours a week every week with no vacation is $23,400. That leaves us with $13,772. Before taxes, BT dubs. Yes, Pimp Daddy Uncle Sam, you better take what's yours. Leaving our girl bosses with $1,148 per month. Yikes! An average month's rent is $1,164. This puts us in the negative, meaning, oh no, how will I buy a pair of $48 Skims? I guess I'll just wrap myself in plastic wrap and hope I don't have to pee. Surround yourself with people who want to work. We don't! Most people would passionately pursue their hobbies if it meant they could still be able to put a roof over their head, food in their stomach, and I don't know, a goddamn glass of wine with their friends. Not one person is or was denying how hard you work. We all saw you lose that diamond earring in the oceans of Bora Bora, and all of us in America felt so bad because we knew you got your ass up and worked for that $75,000 diamond stud. You know, I'm no Esquire, but that stud alone could have wiped the student loan debt clean of 2 college graduates. So we know what a big deal it was. People are dying, Kim, because people don't have insurance, Kim, because people have jobs that don't give them insurance, Kim, because they're living in a country that wasn't built for them, Kim, and because they weren't born into generational wealth, Kim. I don't know. Maybe. Just maybe, you owe the businesswomen of America an apology. Or do they not do that in Beverly Hills?
It's time for
the
Rocket
Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? I hope from the depths of my soul that you did. I had an interesting start to my week at the laundromat. You know that's how it's pronounced, right? Dro. Anyway, I was doing my laundro, and as I was about to take my sweet little delicates out of the machine, which had about 2 minutes left, I grabbed one of those metal baskets and I had my hand lightly sitting on it. Not 5, not 10, not 15 seconds later, almost an entire minute goes by, and this dude looks around like he lost an actual human being and grabs my cart. This was mine. It was mine. I was using it. This occurred on Tuesday, March 8th, International Women's Day. And I'm all woman, baby. I was quite literally stunned because that was so rude. And it was awkward. And it was baffling. I was just left standing there and he walked out. His clothes drying with 45 minutes left. Oh, I wanted so bad to just open his dryer and stop it so when he came back, all his shit was damp, just in time for the dro to close. I even spread my stuff out into 3 different dryers so it would dry in a shorter amount of time, and I'd be gone, never to be seen again. But I didn't. I wanted to. I felt wronged by him. I was enraged, but I didn't. When I went back to pick up my clothes, I was like, I know. I'll move all the carts to the other side of the dromat, and then he'll have to scramble to find one, and that'll teach him. But it wouldn't teach him, and that's crazy of me and a waste of my time. What I did do is take my empty cart and place it right under his dryer. Maybe you're thinking I'm a lamb or a pushover or a weak woman, but I promise you, not getting lawless in this laundromat was extremely difficult for me. It took a great deal of strength not to be petty and open this man's dryer. But I don't know where he's coming from or what he's dealing with, what terrible news he just received and is processing. He could have been doing laundry for a sick relative for the first time and been frazzled. He could have just gotten cheated on. He could have just gotten fired. He may just be having a really hard time. You may be thinking, but he disrespected you. Yeah, sure. But on that International Women's Day, I took his negative energy and I used all my power inside of me to put out better energy. And that's a goddamn magic trick. If life gives you the chance to do a little magic trick with someone's negative energy this week, pull a fucking rabbit out of your hat, baby. I was playing Truth or Dare this week because that keeps it young and exciting. And I got the dare to DM somebody with the same name as me. The question, are you my dad? I sent that question to, you guessed it, a California-based saxophonist by the name of Rocky Powell. But then I hit unsend. I felt bad. Why am I fucking with a stranger? There's a theme this week, party gods. Strangers got enough going on. Let me ask you this. Do you have a lot going on? Yeah, cool. I thought so. Let's assume strangers do too, huh? I know this episode is maybe a little more moral than you're used to, and I do hope that you are still on this ride with me. Sure, I didn't pop any Molly on a random Wednesday. I didn't end up in the Bronx unintentionally at 4:30 in the morning on a whim. I didn't even make out with a hot guy who gave me a tiny little hickey in my 30s, ooshy bad, outside my friend's apartment while she was sleeping, because even the fastest cars have to stop and refuel. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, I thought about how after the vaccine came out, I went on a date with this guy, and I was so embarrassed to tell him I was on unemployment. Please feel free to check out the Mallory Bryant episode for a reference song, because I was scared of what he would think of me, only to find out moments later that he was anti-vax. Unemployment gave me so much freedom and happiness, and I cared what this stranger thought of me. If I may quote one of the greatest poets of our time, I used to give a fuck. Now I could give a fuck less. Eminem. Number 2, what would life be like if you never had to charge your phone? Number 3, trash night again. That's what I hear every time it's trash night again, and now you will too. Number 4, Mentos commercials are so extra, they should call themselves extra. Number 5, are y'all sleeping in hoodies hood up? Or just me? My guest this week is comedian and writer Jay Light. Jay's wild word was dicey, and I encourage you to roll the dice on this episode because it is a winner. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Wild Nights with Rocky, on Twitter at Wild Nights Pod. If you want to see extended interviews with all of my guests, you can watch them on YouTube. So please feel free to subscribe there too. A big thank you to everyone who's written a review on Apple Podcasts, and a future thank you to all of you who are going to write one after this episode. It really does make a difference. If you care to support Wild Nights with your wallet, our little podcast is on Patreon. Help it become the biggest, best podcast it could be. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with Jay Light. Jay, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Rocky.
Absolutely. To have a comedian and a seasoned podcaster like yourself, the pleasure is all mine. I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, how are things going for you? You're in LA right now, yes?
Yes, I am in LA. I'm having a good day so far. I showered, where
Okay.
we just talked about briefly being in a drought when you didn't have any water. We're in a drought, so I got to take quick showers, and I managed to do it just in time.
Is that really like still a thing where your showers they make you like take really short ones in LA or in California, I guess?
They suggest it. There's not like nobody from the water department's like here to cut your water off after a certain amount of time. Like they're not putting timers on stuff, but they're all like, yeah, try and not shower so long. Try and use your less power between 4 and 9 p.m. All this stuff that like it's not really going to help.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
But they pretend it's going to help.
Yeah. It makes them feel better to say things when it's really like big business. That's fucking everybody, Jay.
Bingo. Rocky, you get it.
I get it. Yeah, I don't think I would do too well out there. I like to take a shower is like a meditative experience for me. I like to take like 20-minute showers.
Me too. Every time I go back to visit my family, or really anytime I'm anywhere outside of California, my family lives in Texas.
Yeah.
I leave the state frequently. It's always like, cool, 30-minute shower. I'm going to sit down in here. I'm going to hang out. It's going to be a great time.
I guess if anybody caught you in California, anybody from the Water Patrol, that would be pretty dicey.
Yeah. Perhaps.
Perhaps. So Jay's wild word was dicey. So Jay, give us your wild night story. Everyone's dying to hear it. Let's go.
Oh man. Okay. So this is a recent wild night. It felt appropriate to tell this one because I'm a stand-up. As that's my main thing. I've been doing that for over a decade.
Wow.
Now because stuff's opening up again, I'm able to tour a little bit. I was just very recently in Reno. And I also am sober. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. None of that stuff. But that leaves my options for what to do after shows pretty limited. It's either like people watching until I get bored of all the drunk people, Or my favorite thing is gambling.
Yeah, I love gambling.
Yeah. What's your game?
Blackjack.
Okay. So mine is craps.
Oh.
So I get this gig in Reno, and I've never been to Reno before. It's a crazy city. It's super blue collar. The crowd was at a bar show. It was super, like, the most famous wealthy person in town came to the show and talked to me afterwards, and he was like, "I want to invest in your business, man."
Whoa.
And he was the guy who ran like a pool cleaning business.
Okay. Pool cleaning business.
Yeah. There's some sort of powder that he probably uses as part of the pool cleaning that he seemed to have a lot of fun with that night.
Right.
And by the way, this is when I knew I was going to Reno, I was like immediately like, I'm making a plan. I'm gonna go to a casino. They got a few that are cool out there. My game is craps, so I troll the craps forums on Reddit. I subscribe to a craps YouTube channel. I'm boning up on my strategies and my skills.
So you're in it.
Yeah, this is like, everybody has their vices.
Yeah.
And this is still like the one vice. And also because I am a sober person, I understand how like the addict brain works in my end. So I have to go in with a strategy so that way I don't go nuts and like put myself in a position to lose all of the money that I've ever made ever in my life.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I do this gig, and my plan the whole time is like, I'm going to go to the gig. I'm going to go to a casino right afterwards. I'm going to go to the Atlantis. Okay. I hear a lot of great things about there. And I'm going to just hopefully make enough money at the show selling merch that I can just bet my plan with that. I do this strategy where basically I take enough money for 10 people to shoot. And I do a power pressing strategy, which is where you try and make a bunch of money real quick.
Okay, can I just stop you there? Will you explain for anybody listening the rules of craps? My understanding, I've played a couple times, is if you roll 7 or 11, the whole table is playing together. You roll 7 or 11, then the whole table loses whatever bets are on the table. But correct me if I'm wrong.
So it's a little, you're close. The most basic way to say it is you start out, when a person starts to roll, if they get immediately a 7 or an 11, everybody wins.
Okay.
If you hit a 2, 3, or 12, that's a craps number, and everybody loses.
Ooh.
And if the person shooting hits any number besides those, then that becomes what's called the point.
Gotcha.
So then the goal is to hit the point number again before you roll a 7. And that's when everybody loses.
Gotcha. Okay.
So 7's okay for like a very small window. But after that, nobody wants a 7, which is a shame because 7's the most likely number to be rolled on the dice.
Much like life.
Yes.
Full of 7s.
Full of 7s. Full of full of 7s that nobody wants to hang out with.
Yeah, but we will. We will. Okay, so
because we're good people.
We're good people. So you have enough money for 10 people to play. That's where we're at.
Exactly. And I managed to, in the Reno gig, make just enough for that.
Ooh.
All these people at this gig, super drunk. There was a whole table of people, including the pool cleaning maven of Reno, Nevada, sitting at the front the entire time, just talking.
Yeah.
Heckling comedians on the show. There were about 5 other comics on the show until I got to me, so they were all getting heckled the whole time.
Jeez.
And, I've got experience with roast battle, and I like to do a lot of crowd work during my shows. So I immediately, first thing I did is I talked to these people, and I'm trying to get them to shut the fuck up.
Right.
They don't. I'm like, all right, I got to make sure this crowd's entertained. But afterwards, I was like, I'm gonna bleed these people dry by making them feel bad and buying merch from me.
Gotcha.
Sure enough, pool cleaner guy buys $100 worth of my merch.
Okay,
which is great.
Yeah, he's got it like that.
Yeah, he's got it like that, He gives me his card. He's like, I give you, let's get a business going together. I'll give you $10,000. We can make something happen with whatever you're doing. I like what you're doing.
That's so wild.
Yeah, I was like, I wish you liked what I was doing enough to shut up during the show.
Exactly.
But you gave me cash. That's all I need. I get paid a couple $100 for the gig. I get my merch money. So I'm sitting at $450, which is what I need to take in. So I go to the Atlantis after trying to get other comics to come to the show, or for other comics from the show to go to the casino with me. They're all like, no, we're going to go get drunk at this Irish bar. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
So I go to the Atlantis and I buy in. It's a full table. It's the only table that's operating. So it takes me a little while. So I'm just, keeping an eye on people. And craps is a very social game. So there's always a lot of like characters who go and play craps.
Yeah. Fast friends.
Yes. And there's a whole, there's a bunch of guys who are like clearly regulars. Everybody at the table knows who they are. The dealers are calling them by name. They know their exact bets. Everything's a fun time. And so I finally get a table and I'm like, this seems like it's a good vibe. We're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
So I get on and it's not a good time because people start losing money very quick. Everybody starts rolling badly. There's a lot of what you call 0.7 out, which is you hit the point and then you immediately hit a 7 after you get your bets set up.
Yeah. Okay. So the vibe is like the energy is pretty dark.
The vibe's starting to change. Yeah. The vibe goes from like being fun to being sort of weird. And the way I bet is I do what's 44 inside. So I bet on the 5, 6, 8, and 9 being hit, which will give me some money. And then I can take that money and press my bets up to like double what I had just done until I get to a high enough point where I can win a bunch of money back. So I'm putting down 44. I'm losing it like just like that almost every single time. And I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. I think that, the tide will change. Everything will be okay.
Yeah.
But then for like the real bad sign is this guy comes onto the table and he's been really sort of weird. He's been like putting a bet and then like walking as far away from the table as possible to just like hang out until his bet hits.
Okay.
And he is playing the don't, which means he's betting on the entire table to lose, and he wins money if people lose.
Is that circle? Does it say like do or don't on it or something? Isn't there like a circle?
So that's when it's the on or off button. So if the points hit, you put that where it is, but there's the pass line and then there's the don't pass line.
Okay, so he's not with the crew.
No, and he's trying to stay as far away as he can because I think he knows that like he's winning. We're all losing,
right? And
he wants to just keep his winnings happening and not worry about what we're up to.
Gotcha.
But then he loses. There's this guy, one of the regulars. The dice go to this guy who his name is Mr. Bing.
Okay.
That's all I know him as. That's all the table knows him as. Is they call him Mr. Bing or Bing.
Mr. Bing, got it.
And he starts rolling. He's doing pretty well. He's winning. I get back to close to even. A lot of people are starting to, come back to life a little bit.
Yeah.
And the guy who had been winning because everyone else was losing loses a bunch. And he comes back to the table and starts fighting with the dealers because he's claiming that like he put down chips that he didn't mean to. He's trying to say like, I was trying to make a bet for the dealers. That's supposed to be you guys' money. I didn't mean to put that down. He's like changing his story up a bunch.
Yeah.
They call the pit boss over. They do the eye in the sky. They're like talking to him. And the pit boss is like, I think you're trying to Welsh on a bet, man. And everyone else is like, what's happening? We're all just looking around.
And now he's interrupting the game too. He's like, the flow of the game is stopped because we got to solve this problem with this guy.
Right. So they pull him aside to get the table going again. And they also, a cocktail waitress starts coming around too. And Mr. Bing throws the dice and he sevens out.
Okay.
So now we're all like, the vibe of the table changed. Because craps players, super superstitious. Everybody's got like, I only hold the dice this way. I don't throw if somebody is talking, if like a cocktail waitress is coming to talk to people because it messes up the flow of the table, or I don't
blowing on the dice too.
Yeah, blowing on the dice. There's a lot of like etiquette, but it's also not real. It's like just superstitious stuff,
Yeah.
So then we're all just kind of like hanging out again.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty late. All right. I'm back to basically even. I think I might at this point be down maybe $50.
Okay.
And the dice go the way they had been, which a bunch of people not really doing a whole lot. Point sevening out. It's getting to the point where I am up next to shoot. So I would be the 10th person to shoot, and it's my turn to shoot.
Got it.
So that means like, all right, I'm at my limit. Let's see what happens. If I win, cool. If I lose, cool. And I've been at the table for about, an hour and a half at this point. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to be fine. Whatever happens, I'll just get in, get out.
Yeah.
So I start rolling dice. And I hit a point pretty quick. And that means everybody wins.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this lady who'd been there the whole time who has incredible, like, rainbow nails. She's got this great outfit on. And she had just come back from the bathroom and missed winning the first hit. And so she's like, well, you got to win another one for me, girlfriend, because I had my mask on. I had pretty long hair at the time. So she thought I was a woman.
Okay.
And immediately the dealers are like, no, that's a guy. And I'm like, you can listen, if I'm going to win, you can call me whatever you want.
Yeah. It's not the time.
Great.
Yeah, we're just trying to win some money here.
Right. And this is all, this is where the best part of the game comes in, because everybody starts to be like, oh, we have a little fun going on. We're everything's great. And keep in mind, this is at like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably super late because you had the show.
Yeah. So I got to the casino at like 11:30. I didn't actually get on the table till about 11:45. So it's coming up. Yeah, I'd probably been there. It's like 1:30 in the morning at this point. And I start rolling the dice. I keep hitting points. And so that means I'm winning. My bets are starting to go higher up, and everybody else at the table's winning. And my gal over here, she's like, keep going, girlfriend. And we we hit elbows, we're standing right next to each other.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel pretty good. And I hit, point, another point. And I hit probably like 4 or 5 points.
Damn.
And at this point, a fun little crap statistic is the average person will roll the dice, I think it's like 8 times before they hit a 7 and the game ends.
Yeah.
And they move on to the next person. Now, there had been a lot of people at that table that day who rolled maybe like in the teens or the 20s. I start rolling, and all of a sudden, I cross 30 rolls, and I haven't lost.
Whoa, this lady is on fire.
Yeah, girlfriend is killing it. And I've got, my bets are starting to get pressed up to the point where I am getting paid in like $25 chips, which that's always a good sign, right?
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm a pretty low roller. I'm getting paid $5 chips. All of a sudden, 25, my rack's starting to grow. Everything's starting to get real cool. And at this point, I'm just like, you know what? I can't really even pay attention. I just got to like go with my system and just say like, I'm going to do a full press and hope I keep rolling it and see what happens.
Yeah.
I keep rolling. Everything keeps working. I hit some crazy bets. Like I put down like a hard ways bet, which is like a really hard one to hit. But it pays well. And I'm putting it down for the dealers. And so then the dealers, that bet hits. All of a sudden, the dealers are winning like $35 as a tip for me. And this is happening over and over again.
Yeah.
I roll the dice 50 times.
Oh my God. And there's 9 other people at the table?
There are, I think at this point, there'd been some like people coming and going. It was pretty late. And that point, there maybe were like 6 or 7 other people at the table.
It's still a good amount. Yeah, that's still a good amount. Yeah. Oh my God. 50 times?
Yeah. So everybody's winning. The don't guy, he's gone. He's long gone.
Yeah.
He had a fight with the casino people. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm good. I start, and I'm not even counting how much money I'm winning. I'm just like really trying to just like hit to roll and just stay focused because I'm so in the zone.
Yeah.
Eventually, as you do, I 7 out. And I'm like, cool. That's it for me.
Mm-hmm.
and I check the time. It's 2:30 in the morning.
Okay, so it's late
And I'm
night.
like, it's late night. And I'd also that means I'd been rolling the dice for an hour, which is an insane amount of time to roll the dice for.
Right.
I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to color up, pass up my chips. And they give me back just shy of $2,000.
Not bad.
Not bad. I got to hold $1,000 chip for the first time, which is
Right.
weird, very surreal. I left them a nice tip. I got my cash, and I had basically at that point, almost quadrupled my my money that I'd made from the show.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah.
And I go back to the hotel I'm staying at, and I'm like, you know what? I got my flight at like 6. I should probably take a nap before I get to the airport. And that's my wild night. That's where it ended.
That's amazing. Has that been the most money you ever won gambling?
No, a couple months, actually not even a couple months, like a couple weeks ago, I did. I was in Kansas City doing a gig.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Harrah's out there, and I won about $3,000.
Yeah.
Um,
All from craps?
all from craps.
Wow.
That's the only game I play. I don't really do slots. I don't do blackjack. That's the only one it's the most exciting, and it's camaraderie, and you get to talk to people. And
yeah.
And that's like the winning the big one. That was a different time. A guy just kept hitting a number over and over again. And I got my bet pressed up to where it was like winning several $100s every time it hit. And then as soon as that ended, I was like, cool, I'm gone. I'm good. But there's just something, there's something different about like when you're the one who's rolling and you're the one who like creates the energy for the table.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just like I'm gonna sit with that. It's a very fun time.
Yeah. I've played a couple times. I can tell you right now, I've never won that much money playing. And I've always played with somebody who's like, okay, this is what we do, and this is what we do, and blow on the dice. And it's always like a thing. But to actually seriously play, I only do that with blackjack. This Atlantis that you went to, was it the one that's kind of like a chain? They have it at, in the Bahamas, they have it all over, or was it like a knockoff Reno Atlantis?
It was just a knockoff Reno Atlantis. Yeah. It was the one that like I was reading on the Reddit's Craps subreddit, and they were like, you got to go to the Atlantis. They got the best dealers. And that's where all the locals play. And I was like, cool, I'll go there. And it wound up being the perfect call.
Well, I think that's a great Wild Night story. And I also am happy that there was when you started bringing up the guy that was walking away from the table, I thought maybe that was going to be a situation where he like followed you out of the casino, or you missed your flight, or like he took your $1,000 chip. I'm like, oh no, Jay is in danger, but you're actually only in danger of being a baller.
Oh, that's the only danger I have. That's the only danger I have is being too confident and staying on the table and losing all of it after winning a bunch.
That's not, but you knew when to walk. You knew when to hold them, and you knew when to fold them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gambling 101. Well, Jay, that's super exciting. Much like the rest of your life, for my research and just kind of like following what you have going on, you have a bunch of really exciting things happening right now. You're working on a new TV show, right?
Yes, so I've got a new TV show that I'm starting on in a couple weeks. I just had one that I worked on last year premiere last night.
That's the Domino, right?
Domino Masters, right?
Domino Masters, yes.
We just had our series premiere. That's the first time we ever ran the show. Last night. It was a great show to work on. Super fun, super silly. Just people stacking up and toppling dominoes and making this crazy Rube Goldberg chain reaction artwork. And I hope everybody should go watch it. It's on Fox every Wednesday, right after The Masked Singer.
Awesome. What a lineup. The Masked Singer is a great show. So what is your role on that show?
So I am the writer. So I write for TV, and all the shows I write for are all game shows, reality competition shows, that kind of thing. So for this show, there are a lot of bits. There are a lot of, things that the explanation of like what this kind of a technique has to be explained.
Yeah.
And so I write all of that.
Wow.
Anything that has to do with like what the judges are explaining, how the show's going to work, that's me. Anything with the judging, that's all them. I don't worry. I don't have anything to do with the outcome of the show.
Right.
All I'm doing is trying to come up with silly bits and stuff to throw in to keep the show entertaining.
That's awesome. Do you have kind of like a process where you are making those ideas, or do they just kind of come to you, or is it grueling?
Well, I mean, the most grueling part is being on set the whole time, because Domino Masters, we had 16-hour builds.
Whoa.
So it was a 3-day shoot every episode, and I would be on set the entire time. So I'm shooting, there for 12 hours, paying attention to what's going on. In case something crazy happens, I got to come up with a line for Eric or one of our judges to say.
Right.
But I really have, a lot of credit has to go to the wonderful challenge team and the Domino consultants that we had, because they were so great to work with, so great to bounce ideas off with. And they let me just make stupid, silly jokes and turn them into, and then you get to see that turned into life, because they're like, yeah, we like that idea. Let's pitch this one to the network. Let's see if they go for it.
Yeah, that's super exciting. Did you watch it last night when it premiered?
Oh, of course I did.
Yeah, you have to.
Domino-shaped chocolate chip cookies and Domino's pizza.
Oh my goodness. And Domino's Pizza made an appearance. That's so exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And you also have a super, super funny comedy album, Good Guy with a Gun.
Yes. Good Guy with a Gun. It is one of my favorite, another one of my favorite projects I've ever done. It's a culmination of a lot of great work. There's a lot of stand-up on there, but there's some roasting. There's some sketches on there. It's produced by the incredible Coach T from Roast Battle, and he's produced some other comedy albums over the years. And it's available wherever you get albums, and everybody should go take a listen and enjoy, because you're going to enjoy it.
Do you know what I felt like your album reminded me of? Old school Adam Sandler. You know how he would do those interludes, and there'd be it'd be little sketches in between. That I got that vibe from it. I loved it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
That's a very high compliment. I really appreciate that.
And it's different. I feel like nobody really with their comedy albums is doing anything like that. And so to hear it in yours, I was like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah, that's, the whole thing when I was talking with Coach about when we were starting to conceive what else was going to go on the album besides stand-up. We were both like, we don't want this to just be like a stand-up comedy album.
Yeah.
We want there to be something more to it. So we brainstormed. We came up with some great sketches. We brought in great voices and other comedians to work on those sketches. The Roast Battle has been something that I've been a part of. It was a very formative experience of being a part of Roast Battle here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't not have a battle on the album. Like, that seems like it has to fit. And of course, Coach is a great producer. He knows how to put in samples and music that emphasize and highlight themes that are going on in the bits.
Yeah.
So he did a great job making this beautiful soundscape. So I really think the album is very me. I think it's the most me thing that exists.
Oh, that's important because it's your album. I felt like I got a really good sense of your personality through the album. I don't want to spoil, obviously, or say any of your jokes because everyone should go listen to it. But I'll just tell you personally, my favorite was the math equation, the math problem joke.
Yeah. Math problems.
Whew, that was so good. I was listening to it while I was cleaning, and I was just kind of like, where's this going? And then I was like, oh, wow. Okay, Jay. Okay. I'm following. I loved that.
Thank you. That was one of my favorite ones to write. I love that bit.
Yeah, that was very unique. It was just different. There's a lot about your comedy that I feel like I listen to a ton of comedy, obviously. And there's a lot about your comedy that's very uniquely you. So I think that's cool. Cool way to be.
That's the only way to be, I think.
Only way to be.
Yeah. I'm glad that I have like a calling card that I feel good about.
Yeah. I have a couple more questions for you. One is, so you came to LA from Texas.
Yes.
Why not New York? Weather, what's the deal?
Well, because I went to film school in North Carolina. That's also and that's also where I started doing comedy. Okay. And I had been to LA, I'd been to New York, and I figured, you know what? I know there's a lot more TV work in Los Angeles, TV and film work. I'll go probably do the PA route, and hopefully I can get into a writer's room or something like that way. And that was really the main reason I came out here, which is so funny because like I had a PA gig the first month that I was out here.
Yeah.
Then immediately after that, I got jobs working in comedy clubs, and so I didn't even need it.
Yeah.
But being in LA was great because then I wound up working at the Comedy Store, which for me was like grad school for comedy, and I was there for about 5 years. And so much of where I'm at now, both in my stand-up and TV writing, all of that is all attributable back to my time working at the Comedy Store. So I'm glad that I wound up in LA.
Yeah.
Even though basically my plan was, I don't really have a plan. I'm just going to wing it and hope that I can get some work.
Yeah. And it worked. It was a good plan.
Yeah.
And you have a pretty long running podcast. You're on your 300th episode.
Yes, we just hit our 300th episode this week. It's called Blockbusting. It's a podcast where I have guests on, talk about movies that they hate and why they hate them. And I love doing it. I can't believe it's been going on as long as it has been. But I love movies, but I also love to hate movies.
Yeah.
And I also think that there are a lot of people, of course, with really strong opinions about stuff, especially, you know, a movie that maybe a lot of people think is good, but they don't like.
Yeah.
And I want to hear about why they think that.
I feel that way about a lot of Pixar movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I can recognize that this is a controversial opinion, but I feel safe telling you this. I feel like Pixar movies are great. Of course, they've got the formula down, everything's good. But when they start getting into the death stuff and the like Soul, when I saw Soul afterwards, I was uncomfortable.
Oh, I still haven't seen Soul.
No, well, it might make you uncomfortable.
Well, you know what? Maybe we'll have to have you on to talk about Soul and give me an excuse to finally watch it.
I would love that because I just finished that movie and I was like, I get it. And I know why this movie was good, but nobody else feels like that was super uncomfortable. I don't know. That's a controversial opinion. People love Soul, but whatever. So Jay, people can check out your podcast, people can check out your TV show, but where can people come and follow you and see what's going on?
You can follow me at DietJay, DietJay, on all the socials. That's, you know, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And I've got comedy shows listed at jlightcomedy.com. I've got some touring dates. After this, I'm starting to work on this new show. So after that, I will be touring, but I'm going to be mostly in Los Angeles. Might be popping around to a couple cities in between for some travel, but we'll see, pending my schedule. But that's the best way to check it out, jlightcomedy.com.
jlightcomedy.com. All right, Jay. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your Wild Night story. It was great. And I'm just excited to see what you have coming up. You have so much good stuff behind you. I can't wait to see what's ahead.
Same. I'm very excited for what's happening now, and tune into Domino Masters and help us get a second season, so that way I can write more silly bits.
Let's hear Jay write some more silly bits. Everybody tune into Domino Masters. Jay, thank you for being a guest on Wild Nights. This was an absolute pleasure, and we'll chat soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Rocky.
Absolutely. Bye.